screen and start your presentation.
Thank you so much, Danny, and welcome everyone. Bear with me as I share my screen. I should probably hit share first. Okay, I'm opening up my presentation now. Can everyone see the screen? Perfect. I would like to now turn over the presentation to my colleague, Cam Clifton.
Good morning. Well, good morning for me. Good afternoon to everyone else. My name is Cam Clifton. I'm one of the resident directors at SUNY University of California, Riverside. I'm here to give you all welcome. We are here to get everyone excited about the NUFP program. And if you're unfamiliar with the NUFP program, just give you a little bit of background. The Naspa Undergraduate Fellows Program is a mentoring program for undergraduate students from traditionally underrepresented and historically disenfranchised populations who want to learn more about working in the field of student affairs and or higher education. I've had the honor of actually being a part of this program myself, actually getting into it, I think, in my junior year of college. And we're really excited to bring in other interested folks who want to engage with us and learn a little bit more about the process and how to be a part of this great opportunity. So sit back and relax. We've created a great program for you all this afternoon, and we hope that you all will be able to take maybe make a new connection with somebody and join us later for our NUFP Chatty Hour happening a little bit later today.
Thank you so much, Cam. I'd like to go over the breakdown of how we'll go today, our order. We've had our welcome from Cam. We'll have a mentor-mentee perspective, and then we will have a message from our NUFP board president and chair, and then you'll hear from me around application process and logistics. Lexi?
Hi y'all, my name is Lexi. So I am currently a senior at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and then I will be pursuing my master's degree in student affairs at Clemson University this fall. I just accepted a position as a graduate community director, so I'm really excited. So thank you. I've been a NUFP mentor for 2 years now. Spencer Long, who's on this call as well, has been my mentor for 2 years. And so I decided when I wanted to join the NUFP program, I was looking for professional development, professional connections, and professional opportunities. And I feel as though NUFP really provided me with that, especially I primarily worked in orientation and housing at my institution, and so working with Spencer, who works in student leadership and civic engagement, was something that was really important to me because I wanted to kind of get somebody else's perspective from a different interest area of student affairs. Meeting with him, you know, when we made time, it was about talking about what I wanted to do and how I saw myself as a professional, and how we could cultivate other relationships to sort of enhance that. So he really connected me with not only people on UIC's campus, but people elsewhere that were doing jobs that maybe I was thinking about pursuing, or working in an interest area that I was intrigued by. So Spencer really gave me that opportunity, especially when I was looking to apply to different graduate programs, specifically with Clemson. Spencer connected me with 2 alum, so I was able to talk to them about their experiences, assess whether, you know, I liked the kind of professionals that that university was producing, and Spencer was able to connect me, so I was able to have those conversations. I also really enjoyed getting to go to Naspa last year with Spencer. I was able to meet people from all over the country and make connections that way, but then also attend sessions that enhance my own professional development. So that was really great, and also just super wonderful to be able to experience Naspa so early in my student affairs career. That was amazing. And also I got to intern last summer at the at Texas A&M, working for their orientation department. So that way I was able to kind of get a little bit of glimpse into what grad school would be like. So getting acclimated to a new area, establishing yourself in an office full of all new people, and just kind of figuring out what that was like. So I really enjoyed the internship experience, and overall that created a lot of connections that got me to where I am right now. So that's all I really have at the moment.
Spencer?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Spencer Long, he, him, his. I oversee the Student Leadership and Civic Engagement Office at the University of Illinois at Chicago. I've been able to be enough mentor for probably half a dozen students at this point. And for me, what I find so valuable about the experience is simply just being able to connect with young professionals and provide them an opportunity to explore the field. I've had students who have both gone into student affairs and who've also gone through the experience and decided that maybe it wasn't for them. And so I think that's one of the most valuable things about the NUFP program, is that it's basically getting to try student affairs and higher education with training wheels, and being able to fall and have somebody there to catch you, to ask questions, and to explore. I've learned something from every one of my NUF's fellow students. And what's great, I think, for me now as a professional is, as they go off into graduate school and graduate and become young professionals, is every time I'm at a conference, I am able to check in with them, but also have an ever-expanding network, because when Lexi's down in South Carolina next year, and hopefully we're together at Naspa next year, that I'll get introduced to some of her colleagues and get to have conversations and talk about what she's learning, right? And I don't necessarily see the mentorship as being something that's just for a year or two. It's something that can continue and to grow into flourishing conversations moving forward. For me, it also forces me to think more critically and making sure myself I'm professionally developed as well, so I can deliver the best content to the students that I work with, and make sure that what we're providing is relevant and they're getting an experience. It's also interesting too, because I'm able to explore areas of higher education. I had a different student, Tyler Portis, who I worked with for actually 3 years as a mentor. And we started even looking at like advancement and technology and other things in higher education that I don't really get to spend a lot of time on. And so for me, it was exciting to learn from them and what they've learned from those conversations as well. It's extremely valuable. I think as we look at higher education, we really need really, really good professionals, people who are creative, people who are adaptable, people who are resilient, and are diverse. And our student population is ever growing more diverse, and we need more diverse professionals that represent that as well. And so anything I can do to help expand that is definitely worth it, and the value for me as a professional. So I could go on and on about how great it is and how, but at the end of the day, it's a free experience, right? I don't have to pay to go to a conference. I don't have to travel anywhere, and I can have a direct impact with the young professional. And so when I look at ever shrinking professional development dollars or ever shrinking budgets, it's one way that I can continue to give back as a professional, but also learn without ever having to leave my host campus. So yeah, that's for me the value of being a mentor. And I'll throw it out to anybody who's on the webinar. If this is something that you're interested in and want to learn more about or have questions, I'm open to anybody reaching out to me directly as well.
Thank you so much, Spencer. We have Tonantzin.
Thank you, Spencer. That was wonderful. Good afternoon, and I think good morning for some folks. Tonantzin Oseguera. I currently serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs at Cal State Fullerton. So we're still in the morning hour a little bit. And I think for me, Spencer, you couldn't have launched it in a better way. We absolutely need folks and students that look like us. We need, we need to represent our students, and being part of the NUFP, whether you're a mentor or a mentee, it's such an invaluable experience. But more than anything, we need student affairs professionals that are good, as you said, that are resilient, that are willing to give to the students, that are selfless, that are going to be here, especially right now. We need good people to go into the field. If you thought of the folks that have inspired you so much throughout your time and, in higher education, it might be that person in financial aid, right? It might be, your orientation coordinator. It might be, your academic advisor, a career center counselor. All those folks went through similar programs in higher education for a master's, and, are in this field because we love to work with students. We're so passionate about what we do, and it's so important that we have and recruit good folks to go into student affairs. So I hope that you strongly consider becoming part of this wonderful field. It's such a calling. For me, it is. I went to Colorado State University as an undergraduate, and I really was not going to go into higher education. I was on a path to be a scientist and to do research. So I have a bachelor's in science, believe it or not. And I was super involved in my collegiate experience as I had been in high school. And I encountered vice president of student affairs. I didn't know what that person did or what they, who they were. And we were having some conversation about, what we could do to better the experience of Latinx students at the time. And I had all these ideas because I was one of very few Latinx students at Colorado State. And so I gave them a whole list, and I started to be on committees and work on some things. And the vice president pulled me aside at the time and said, "Have you ever thought about going into student affairs?" Had no idea what it was. I'm like, "No, I'm undocumented, first of all. I'm here on a scholarship. I'm just trying to get a job so I can help support my family. I don't know what you're talking about." So they helped me to get connected to a campus that was going to be undocumented friendly. I got an assistantship. I went to the University of Vermont for my master's, and I've never looked back. I still love science. I still read science journals. It's fascinating for me, but I love what I do in student affairs. There's no other place that I would rather be right now, especially right now, when there are so many students in particular are, underrepresented communities, or undocumented students, or international students. So many are being left behind, throughout this pandemic. And so I think for me, this is really why I got into it, to make sure that those students were at the forefront of everybody's mind in terms of how we do services, how we care for students. It really is about that. So I hope that you all consider it, because this is the place. If you want to speak up, you want to have a voice, you want to have a say in how we do things at universities, and you want to change the experience for students, it starts in student affairs. So I hope that you all consider it. So, and same thing like Spencer, if anybody wants to contact me afterwards or connect, I am always open to it. I will always take the call. Angela, I think, can provide my information, but if not, you can log on to the Cal State Fullerton website. I am the only Tenanson on campus, so if you look me up in the directory, my personal email and my direct line pops up. So thank you, and I hope everyone has a good rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much, Tenanson. Next up is me. Hello, everyone. I am Angela Clark, and I am the Associate Director for Equity and Inclusion and Social Justice Initiatives at Naspa, and I feel so honored and blessed to be here with you today. I'm just going to go through a few nuts and bolts and share some tips and ideas with you, and then wrap up our conversation. Thank you, Cam, for mentioning we have the NUFP Chatty Hour. This will be the second, but we'll say it more times. We have it at 4:30 this afternoon, and so if you're interested in joining the NUFP Chatty Hour later this afternoon, please feel free to email me and I can connect you with the link that you'll need, aclark@naspa.org. And so for the application process, what you can do is go to naspa.org, which is our website. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see a section that says Communities. What you want to do is click on Communities, and then you will see, you can scroll down and see NUFP. And when you scroll down to NUF, you click on NUF. And then you will go down to the bottom of the screen and you'll see application information. And that will provide you with all the information that you will need for the application. The requirements is that 1, you identify as someone belonging to an underrepresented or historically disenfranchised student population. 2, you have at least a 2.5 GPA. 3, you have a mentor who is a Naspa member, and we can talk through if you have any questions or concerns around how do I find a mentor who's a Naspa member. Happy to talk you through that. Feel free to email me, aclark@naspa.org. And then lastly, you have at least 2 semesters or quarters of undergraduate education. And so as part of the application, I wanted to highlight, we made a few tweaks and changes. I don't know if you've spoken to other NUFs and they've told you how it goes. We made a few changes, not that many, but a few. One thing will be the fellow questions. And so there's going to be a list of questions that you need to answer. And then there's a mentor application. So the mentor that you secure, that mentor will have to fill out an application. The one thing that we changed is that each part of the application is a separate individual entity. And so prior we had a PDF upload that you put everything together. Now you'll go into each one, put in your information, and that way it keeps it, more clean and easier for us to read. The next thing you'll need is your unofficial transcript. And then lastly, you'll need a letter of recommendation, not from your mentor, from another faculty or staff member who will be able to speak to all of your wonderful qualities. So there's 4 parts to the application. And if you have any issues or concerns, feel free to reach out to me, but those are kind of the nuts and bolts. I'm super excited. We are on social media. We had been dormant for a little while, but Nancy, who is our social media and communications chair, she has come up with we've had these sites, but she has rejuvenated them and breathed new life into them. So I'll say they're new, even though they're old, they're new. And so we have a Facebook page, which is up here. We have a Twitter page, which we have, and then the NUFgram, which we have. And so I just wanted to say that I am super excited about our social media. Please go on, sign up, get on, see the great things that we're doing. I believe that Nancy, in all of her amazingness, is live tweeting right now. So if you go on right now and be a part of Twitter, join our Twitter, you'll see the live tweets. So please go on there, stay tuned. There'll be all type of updates on there regularly. I mentioned our chatty hour today at 4:30, but here are some deadlines just for you to know. The application will launch on May 1st, and the deadline for it is June 12th. So please, 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 I would say don't wait for the latter application because you don't know how things will go. Apply on when the application opens, effective May 1st, and get in there early so that you can secure your spot and be a part of NUF, which is amazing. Okay. So here's a pop quiz for all of you folks that are listening. We want to make sure that you remember all the wonderful things that Cam, that Lexi, that Spencer, that Tananson, that I said, so that you can arm yourself with all the knowledge that you need. So when is the application deadline? And this is going to be a little bit difficult for me because I'm sharing my screen. So I'm wondering if I should stop share so I can see, because I'd like you to raise your hand and put yourself in the chat so I can see you and say, hey, Angela, I want to answer this question because we might have a little prize for you. I'm just saying. So raise your hand if you want to answer the question. When's the application deadline? Is there anyone? Seeing none, I will answer it myself. Why? Because I'm amazing. The application deadline is June 12th, which happens to be, I believe, a Friday. Yay, Angela. Okay, question number 2. Where can you find specific NUF information? And you know what? We can open this up. It doesn't have to be someone who's new that's interested in NUF. It can be a colleague who knows the answer. And you get a prize, and you get a prize. So, where do we find helpful? Oh, I see Cam raised the hand.
I want to say, as you said earlier, you can find the information by clicking on communities within NASPA, as well as going to NASPA, I think naspa.org/NUF. I don't know if that's true, but I think that's another way you can get to it as well.
Perfect, Cam. I see Kerwin said on social media pages, you're right, Kerwin, you get a prize. Love this. That's wonderful, Cam. Yep, you can find it on naspa.org. You can find it on our social media pages. You can find it, get information also from me in emails if you email me. So lots of ways to get information on NUF. Okay, let's go to question 3. What have you learned about the NUF program during this session? Maybe it's something you knew before, or maybe something new that you learned. But what have you learned or affirmed for yourself through this presentation today? Lauren.
So, like Cam, I'm also an alum of the NUF program from like back in the day, late 2000s. But this session has really just reaffirmed how amazing the program is. I was out of the field for a while and came back and it was like I never left. So just for anyone who either is a current NUF fellow or thinking about getting into the NUF program, these are connections that you'll have regardless of where you go afterwards. You'll have them forever. And it's totally worth it. Whether you're a mentor, mentee, just anywhere that you can be connected, I highly, highly recommend 5 stars, 10 out of 10, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I also want to highlight what Melanie said about you can also find out information by emailing any of our wonderful speakers today. That is correct, Melanie. And in terms of something that you already knew or affirming that, Spencer has affirmed that Lexi is amazing and we should hire her someday. You're right, Spencer. Lexi, you're amazing. Okay, and question number 4. Why is it so important for people like you to be involved in the field of student affairs? Why is that so important? I don't see any hands. Would any of my colleagues like to weigh in? Why it's so important?
I'll weigh in, Angela. Hi, everybody. Jordana Taylor with the Rev team. I think it's important to be involved because we need to see ourselves represented on the campuses and the organizations that we work with. And it's really important to be able to make some of those initial connections. And by encouraging folks from all different walks of life and all different backgrounds to participate in a program like NUF, we're just really continuing to enrich the profession and really move us forward.
So sorry. Perfect. That's really the presentation that we have for you. I want to highlight again our socials. So we have Facebook at NUFFB. We have NUFgram, so at NUFgram, NUFPGRAM, and then on Twitter at NUFTweets, so NUFP, and then tweets. And then also I can be reached at aclark@naspa.org. And Lauren's putting it in our chat. Thank you so much, Lauren. If you have any questions, concerns, things you just want to share or get to know, feel free to email me. Happy to chat with you. So excited about the NUF program. So excited about the colleagues that I work with and how dynamic they are. And so excited about you potentially joining the NUF program. And I'll turn it over to Jordana now.
Great. Thank you so much, Angela. And thank you to those of you who are part of the NUF program and to our NUF alums who are on this meeting right now. It's been really a privilege to have you join us and hear about your experiences. So thank you so much for sharing. And as we mentioned earlier, before the call started, we are recording this, so we are going to make this available. So if you do know any students or colleagues who might be interested in learning more about the NUF program, please let them know that this has been recorded and we will be sharing this out so they'll be able to access this and learn more about it. And thank you again. So for those of you who are on the call who are joining us for the duration of our virtual highlights for our emerging professionals today, we will be starting again at 2:30 p.m. with a presentation for those who are interested in learning about asking all the questions and essentially questions to ask during the interview. And so we are going to take a short break and we will be back shortly. So thank you so much for joining us and we'll see you here in just a few moments.